What's up everyone and welcome to Robeytech, where I, Justin Robey, aka Roby1 Kenobi, talk tech with you wonderful people. Now we're gonna get you up to speed on everything going on the PC hardware and gaming world. Well, what we can get into 15 minutes. CES is all over, don't cry, because there is still a lot to talk about. We're gonna talk about all the weird tech. Wait, no, we've already done that. But we are gonna talk about some of the new PC products we saw from our good friends over at Corsair, Cooler Master, ASUS, and more. So pull up a chair because this, my friends, is Robeytech. Now, it's no surprise here that Robeytech HQ are huge fans of Corsair. Man, Robeytech HQ, that sounds so dignified. I hope we get there someday. Welcome to Robeytech HQ. We've used their products on a ton of builds in the last year, but what about the tasty new goodies they released at CES this year? Well, it was a metric butt ton of stuff. That's what. Don't tell me how much a metric butt ton is. I have no.
Mama.
Yo, yikes. Now, where to even begin? Well, let's start off with an interesting piece of info that Corsair IQ Surfware software that controls their products and RGB lighting is now available on Mac OS. Whoa, what? Now this is an interesting move because, as we mentioned previously, Apple is planning to release a gaming-focused Mac in the not-so-distant future. I'm curious, did Corsair perhaps watch our episode that's right here? And maybe that's how they knew and they decided, hey, because Robeytech announced it, that's why we're gonna add the support for this. I don't know, Brian. Now, could this be a sign that Apple is taking games seriously? Honestly, who knows? But definitely check out the link in the description if you are of the Apple computing variety for a list of compatible Corsair products, but at the moment, it's just keyboards, mice, and headphones. Now, next up, we have a new GPU water block for the ROG Strix 2080 series GPU, as well as the RX 5700 XT. In fact, guess what just came in the mail the other day, Brian? My RX 5700 XT water blocks from Corsair. Now the new Hydra X series XG7 comes in at $169.99 for the Strix 2080 and $149.99 for the 5700 XT. And of course, they are all RGB. Now we are definitely interested in the Hydra X series water cooling options, so it's great to see support for additional products coming from Corsair. Now continuing with the cooling theme, we have an interesting addition to the AIO lineup with the iCUE RGB Pro XT cooler. Now in an interesting twist, it has 16 RGB LEDs on the cooler itself, but comes with ML fans that aren't RGB? What? I mean, it definitely makes it more affordable, and if you aren't into RGB, then sure, but if you're gonna buy an RGB cooler, why not RGB the fans too? Well, the cool thing is it does add a 0 RPM mode that keeps the noise down when the CPU isn't under load, and it doesn't need to be spinning at 1 billion RPMs, so that's a great addition to the lineup. Now these new AIOs come in at 240, 280, and 360 millimeter radiator options. Now continuing with the fan talk, we've got a beautiful evolution in their RGB fan tech with the new iCUE QL series of RGB fans. Each fan has 34 individually addressable RGB LEDs across 4 distinct light loops. So now you can build that rave PZ that you've always wanted, the PC of your dreams.
Please tell me why.
That's my rave PC in my dream. Okay, he's looking at me. Coming in at either a 120 or 140 millimeter configuration and as a single or triple pack that comes with the new Lighting Node Core, which I'm very excited about because this bridges the gap between the Lighting Node Pro and the Commander Pro, allowing you to connect up to 6 of the same type of fan to the hub and connect it to your motherboard using only one, finally, USB 2 connector. Now these things look beautiful and run quietly and have a super nice silent fan design. I look forward, of course, to seeing some of these build with these new fans coming on the show soon. Now, if water cooling isn't your Jimmy Jams, fret not because Corsair has you covered with their brand new A500 dual fan CPU cooler sporting 2 ML120s, again, not RGB for some reason, and 4 distinct contact copper heat pipes. One of the interesting things about this cooler is that the thermal paste is pre-applied with an optimized pattern for maximum coverage.
Pattern for maximum coverage.
I don't even know what that, like, what does that look like? I don't know. You'll probably see it there, but maybe it's just a picture of me. I'm like pre-applied for maximum coverage. Now, we've got to get moving along with some of the other products because we could spend a whole day just talking about the new Corsair products. Things like their new K95 RGB Platinum XT keyboard that looks super dope and has Elgato Stream Deck integration. We've got 2 new headphones, the HS Pro Series and the Void Elite, a new iCUE RGB lighting strip kit, the new iCUE 220T RGB case that was tempered glass, along with the RGB-less 110R and 110Q. And then you've also got the new 80 Plus Bronze certified CV450 and the 550 PSU that are not modular for budget builds And then of course gaming chairs, which was actually kind of a trend among the PC part manufacturers this year. Now let's talk about Elgato, because technically Elgato is owned by Corsair, but we have to talk about their big announcement separately. First up, the 4K 60S capture device that is about to change the game for creating gaming content. When it comes to capture cards and capture devices, the internal 4K 60 Pro has set the bar pretty high, especially with quality capture and pass-through. Now though, we have a standalone external solution in the 4K 60S. Now it's small enough to fit in your backpack. The 4K 60S allows for 4K HDR capture at 60 FPS with a single press of a record button onto an SD card, but make sure it's a fast SD card. Now you don't need any software to run or even a computer to connect as a bridge between your input and output. This allows the device to use Elgato's zero lag pass-through. Huzzah and hurrah. Now if you want to use this for streaming, you can still add it as a source in your preferred streaming software of choice or record directly to a drive in your computer, but let the 4K 60S take off the load of encoding rather than using your CPU, which is awesome. Now, I'm not seeing any drawback here, my friend. You can even connect a microphone via 3.5mm jack in the front of the device. While I don't think the pricing has been announced for this yet, keep in mind that this is a Swiss Army knife for capturing and streaming all in one compact device. This is probably the last capture device you'll need before the jump to 8K, which is many years away, unless you went to CES and you think it's tomorrow. When Elgato announced the key light LED system, everyone lost their collective mind. You don't need large stands or ginormous clamps on the side of your desk to light your lovely face when you stream or record content. Like moi. Along with the Stream Deck, connectivity, and wireless control, the original key light was a smashing success that had a pretty hefty price tag that made it a bit too costly for some content creators to get into. Now this year, they've come up with a smaller, more budget-friendly option with the Key Light Air. The LED panel is a little smaller, but still just as bright thanks to its edge-lit, multi-layer design, and it comes with its own adjustable stand. But if you want to put it on a stand you already own or need more adjustability, it is compatible with their multi-mount and articulating arms. The new Key Light Air rings up at $129.99, so that is a bit cheaper than the bigger sibling. So let us know in the comments below if you plan on picking up a pair of these lights. We got one more tease from Elgato this year, Project Wave, which appears to be a microphone with a built-in submixer to adjust the levels of your mic, game, music, and chat independently, and I for one can't wait to see what it ends up looking like and want to test it out as soon as I can. In fact, I talked to Philip over at Elgato, and we're gonna be testing it out for sure on the show. MSI came out with some really interesting stuff this year, and first up is their all-new GT76 Titan DT laptop. Now, I have to say right off the bat, no, this does not have an RTX Titan inside it. I know, I was a bit disappointed too, but this thing looks to be swinging some serious specs. Now, powered by a too legit to quit i9-9900K and up to an RTX 2080, you can get up to 4K, 100% Adobe RGB color accurate IPS level panel screen and latest Wi-Fi 6. If you aren't into that RGB life, but still want to exude opulence, the MSI Prestige P100 is an all-in-one for you. The beautifully designed all-white tower and gold accents is the epitome of classy, especially when you pair it with their PS3 41WU widescreen monitor. Now, leveraging similar specs with the 9900K and the 2080 Super, along with the dual-channel DDR4 RAM up to 64 gigs, this thing is aimed at the opulent artists and designers out there and supports a 5K, 2K creating experience. Now, the interesting part of this is that the PC is chambered, meaning you have a separate space for the CPU, GPU, and PSU to keep heat generating components isolated and nice and crispy cool. It also touts a toolless design that allows for easy upgrading. So who knows, maybe we'll get our hands on one of these things and see what we can do to crank out a little bit more juice. What do you say? Now, continuing in the vein of opulent excessiveness, we have the 10th anniversary of the Lightning card with the 2080 Ti Lightning. This is the over-the-top GPU with gold, carbon fiber, like legit real carbon fiber backplate, and a customizable LED display that can play your own favorite GIFs as you game in ginormous 4K. This is their Halo card, their best of the best, their pinnacle of MSI performance. So here's to 10 more years of awesome PC parts from the fine folks over at MSI. Now, last for MSI is the MEG Aegis Ti5 all-in-one that looks like a blacked out RGB version of Bastion's head from Overwatch. Now, while the sleek new design of the case is certainly one of the most eye-catching features of the build, and real quick, good on MSI for making such a diverse variety of all-in-ones this year, so claps for that. This is the first PC to be designed by MSI with a human-machine interface, similar to what you could have seen in like a car. Basically, it has a screen on the case and a knob you can use to dial up the performance when you need it and turn it down when you don't. The volume control for performance. Turned up, turned down. Now, I know I just cranked that thing up to 11, and I've told MSI they need to add an 11 and leave it there, pretty much all the time. But the ability to dynamically affect performance on the PC is really a cool feature. I think one of the things I'm gonna do is like when my kids are like trying to play games and I'm like, oh, it's time to go to bed. Dad, the PC's so slow. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, buddy. Now, if you're sitting down watching Robeytech on your PC, you don't need it to be running full tilt overclocked 5 gigahertz across all cores with a boosted GPU's clock speed, so we'll see if this is something that ends up making its way into other cases in the future. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. Now, NZXT is expanding its peripheral list with the addition of the AER headset ecosystem. What? Now, we've got a very clean NZXT-esque headset design with a swappable mic, the NZXT ST&D, or stand, to set your microphone headsets on, the MXR, mixer, to balance your voice and gain, and a beautiful knob with LEDs to indicate volume, of course. The headphones come in either white, black, or purple, which is arguably the best color option and very NZXT of them, and gives you the option of an open or closed back ear cup, and is compatible with PC, PS4, Xbox, and Switch. Now, pre-orders are going on now for $129.99 for the headphones, ST&D is $49.99, and the mixer MXER is $99.99. They also announced the NZXT cam support for Vertigear's RGB gaming chair, so there's another chair for you. Cooler Master is living up to its namesake with new AIOs across their Master Liquid lineup, with the addition of the ML Lite V2 and the ML240R, 280R, and 360R, with the improved radiator design and sickle flow V2 fans. Pricing goes from $119 up to $219 for the AIOs with built-in LED screens. That's right, LEDs in your coolers. I actually saw these at CES and it was actually pretty cool. Cooler Master has cleaned up their headset and peripheral design in 2020 with the new MH600 series of headsets. I gotta say, these look clean and comfortable, and I want like, 50 pairs of them so I can just put them all over my body and be like a Voltron-esque Cooler Master headset robot. How could that not be awesome? I'm also completely smitten with their new MM821 mouse, which looks so ding-dang clean and tasteful with its RGB and extra buttons placed in perfect locations with wireless QI charging, but it also lets you charge via USB Type-C. We also have a couple of monitors, and while they aren't ludicrous 360 Hz refresh rate 49-inch ultra-wides, these 1440p VA panels with 144 Hz refresh rates are nothing to sneeze at, and are offered at relatively affordable prices of $299.99 for the GM27CF and up to $799.99 for the CM34CW heavy hitter. But the biggest thing by a country mile is the Cooler Master is not going to be outdone in the gaming throne area. No, literally one of the pieces of marketing art has a chair with a bunch of FPS weapons behind it, like the Iron Throne. They came out with not one, but 4 different chairs and a rolling mat for underneath your chair that is fresh AF. You know what an AF means? You're too young and you probably should still be watching this, and that's okay. We have the Caliber X1 for $349.99, the Ergo L for $599.99, which Josh is super stoked about and wants Cooler Master to send him because an ergonomic gaming style RGB chair is right up his alley, and the Caliber R1 and R2 chairs, and the mat that's basically a giant mouse pad for the floor. I mean, who doesn't want that? As we reported last episode, AMD is owning all the ASUS ROG laptop lineup for 2020. So we won't dwell on that, but they are really dope laptops, so we're excited for those. They've got the new G14, a new Zephyrus G15, but they also built their own all-in-one PC with the ROG Strix GA35 and GT35. The GT1 is going to be faster because, GT. The all-in-one rocks a lightning-fast 3950X with its 16 #beefy cores and the ROG Strix 2080 Ti because, of course. Why would you want anything else, you silly goose? Now, following suit with the chamber designs for their case like MSI, this splits the case into 3 cooling zones, one for the CPU, one for the GPU, and of course one for the PSU, all while looking sweet AF. Now, we covered the monitors already last week, so we'll move on to their new mouse and keyboard. Yep. The ROG Strix Scope TKL Deluxe, which does not have a 10 key, and that makes Jash a little sad inside, has the industry standard Cherry MX switches and all the RGB RO sync lighting your heart could dream of. Also following suit with the mouse design and with Cooler Master, the ROG Chakram offers a sleek and slim design with subtle RGB accents and a joystick, but features its new wireless charging with the option to connect via USB Type-C. The mouse claims to have a battery life of 48 hours if you leave it on with all the RGB goodness, and 79 hours if you play it and use it in dark mode. Well, guys, I'm sorry. That's it for Robeytech today. We're done. But this episode was kind of long because there was so much cool stuff to talk about at CES. Let me know what you thought about today's episodes in the comment below. Are you opulent and need the MSI Prestige P100 like I do? Are you all about the RGB gaming chairs like Josh? How badly do you want to build with the new Corsair QL fans like Brian? He doesn't want to do that at all, but I wanted to throw his name in there. Let us know in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, be sure to slap that subscribe button, hit that like button, and ring that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time we post a new video. Of course you want to know that. Also, head on over to mixer.com/Robey1Kenobi and give us a follow over there for our live show every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. Also, be sure to drop us a follow over on Twitter and Instagram at Robey1Kenobi. Also, check us out over at facebook.com/Robeytech. You know your mom wants to, and your dad, and your grandparents, and all the other older people who use Facebook. I use Facebook too. Wait, I'm old. Anyway, thanks for watching. Now go play some games. I'm gonna go feel better about myself. #BeefyCores.